An issue I wanted to speak about today is wealth disparity in the United States. I think we see wealth disparity on the news sometimes, and here's like a little graphic that I have here. It says the top 10% own 70% of the United States wealth. And when you think about that, that is pretty crazy. The the uh, the top couple people own so much wealth within the United States. And that's tough to think about when there's so many people down at the bottom that are not living in good conditions. Um, I wanted to also make this video because I feel like there's a potential solution to it that's kind of bipartisan, and it's more of a solution that we give the people the tools to help themselves rather than enforcing rules that help others. Not that that's always bad, but I think the best thing that we can possibly do for people is allow them to help themselves, teach them how to help themselves. And in this case, what I'm talking about is adding financial education as a core class in high schools all across America in order for people to be living more financially free and more financially educated, so that they can make the best choices, or so that they can really have the most choices possible and be living their best possible lives. Right now, in the discussion over wealth disparity, the two sides are that of a more libertarian side and a more kind of like socialist side. The more libertarian side, I would say, is their argument is that the top so and so percent that owns so much of the wealth, the top people in the United States financially, they deserve to be at the top because they bring so much value to the United States. And I totally agree with that. But let's look at the other side. The other side is a more socialist kind of, we want to do good for everybody side. And they're saying we live in the richest nation there ever was, and we still have people in poverty. We still have people really suffering, and there's all this wealth here, and they're not really getting a share of it. And I totally agree with that as well. What we have to look at doing is solving this in a smart way, I guess. Solving this problem in a smart way, having there be less wealth disparity among Americans. So the way I look at it is, we can't really, have a wealth tax. I guess we could have a wealth tax, but that's tough because you're going to be taking equity out of people's hands. People who made these companies, who are wealthy, they're going to be forced to sell equity in their company to keep up with that tax. That doesn't seem right, and that's a slippery slope. What I'm proposing, and I'm not really proposing it to anybody, I'm just saying my idea on wherever I post this. I'm saying what we should do as a nation is we should pool our resources into changing our education system for the better. We need to implement financial education in all schools across the United States, probably high school and up, really. And we need this because people graduate high school and they have no idea how to manage their finances. Like myself included, and I'm studying finance now. It's just like we're not really taught any basic principles, and I guess it kind of falls upon our parents or our guardians, whoever. But in many cases, our guardians, our parents, they don't even know what they're talking about themselves. And I just see it as a total problem because I see friends of mine and I see family members and I see everybody, making bad decisions financially, stuff that really hurts them. Some of my friends, they'll come across money, they'll work for a little while, they'll get some money up, and that money will instantly be blown on shoes or whatever, or a trip, and that's fine. I think people should totally entertain themselves after they've worked hard. I totally agree with that. I think that's totally reasonable. And I always like to go out to eat. I always like to spend my money on things I like. I like to buy shoes. But we need to be taught to save our money, but to also invest our money in the future. And there's no time when that I was ever taught about investments in high school. Now, investments are very, very important. You know, for us to build wealth as people, we need to be putting our money into real estate or stock in the stock market. And that's in order for us to, have some wealth, have some financial freedom, have some power, some oomph behind us, I guess. If a bad day comes up and we really have to, we don't have much going on for us, at least we could have some money to buy some stuff, say if there ever a disaster. We need money behind us. And it's important that every American has that every American knows how at least to gain wealth throughout their life. Because at the end of our lives, we all expect and we all hope to retire. And as of right now, we have Social Security, but Social Security maxes out at about $25,000 a year. That's not a very good retirement. That's really not. And that's a whole nother discussion on its own. But what I'm just saying is that we need financial education to combat wealth disparity within the United States. And I got a couple of a little more graphics that I have here. Americans' grasp of financial literacy is slipping. More people are unable to answer basic money questions. And it's gone from about 43% to about 35%, 34% from 2009 to 2018. So this is a little dated, but I think we're getting a point. We're getting less and less financially literate. And that's a problem. And 43% are high within this graph. That's still really bad. If only 43% of the United States citizens could answer basic financial literacy questions, that's not good. It would really be best for everybody. We would have the most prosperity in the United States if everybody had financial education. I truly believe that. Here's another little graphic that I have here. It's financial education across the United States. It's showing state by state what is being taught, what's being tested, what's being offered. And there's only a few states that have testing and courses required, and that's like just 3 states. And I'm still wondering, how good is that financial advice? How good is that financial education? I think it's important that we be critical because this is an important subject for every American. But on this little graphic, it shows most states really are doing the bare minimum when it comes to financial education. In my state of Oklahoma, no courses or testing is required within financial education. Another little graphic I have is what percentage of Americans own stocks, and around 2000 it says 60% own stocks, and now it's saying about 55% own stocks. So that's not good that we're going down, because that's one of the major wealth building tools is your stock market your stock portfolio. That's certainly, that's where you go in order to increase your wealth. That's where you put your money to hopefully get a return on, because there's been returns year after year after year after year. Not every year, of course, there's going to be a great return. Some years your money's going to go down. But over the long haul, if you're investing in good companies, real companies, companies that actually make a profit, and companies that do good for the world or for the United States or whatever, you will have a good return on investment. It's important that we teach about investments in our schools. I personally never learned anything about a 401k, a Roth IRA. We never learned anything about mutual funds and all that. That's all kind of jargon. That's all pretty basic jargon, actually, in the financial world. But all those things are incredibly important for literally probably every American. Because if every American was exposed to those concepts, was exposed to, basic financial information, we really would have a lot more prosperity as a nation. So yeah, as we can see, Less people are owning stocks than 20 years ago. That's sad. I actually have to say though, 60%, that's not too bad. Now we're at 55%. That's not too bad, but we need to get this up to closer to 100%. I mean, if we had 100%, if we had every American holding equity in a company, that would really have a lot more prosperity. There'd be a lot more hope amongst every American. And then hopefully more people would be able to retire like with dignity, retire, you know, maybe not totally rich or totally wealthy, but, you know, with more options, with more money in their pockets. What I'm just saying overall is we need more financial education as a nation, for sure. Because I was never exposed to much of this, especially at my school or anything. And, you know, the only way I've been exposed to it is really just looking for it, not even totally paying attention at school, but looking for it on the internet, looking for information, trying to learn, and it's really paid off. You know, I have a pretty good understanding of the financial system now, and I'm really now seeing that informationally and education-wise, especially within finance, I am at a advantage to other people my age, just with my knowledge. I'm at an advantage when it comes to, you know, money and potential wealth building in my future, just because I've sought out this knowledge. And all I'm saying here, and this is what I've been saying the whole video, is we just need to place all this knowledge in our school systems so everybody has a fighting chance, so everybody knows basic financial principles, and so that everybody can be, you know, building wealth and hopefully living financially free, so everybody's, you know, as prosperous as they can possibly be. But that's all I'm saying. We need financial education as a core curriculum class in the United States. Thank you.